Hey everyone, it's Mimi and Weezus.
Hey guys, what's good?
Today, we're gonna hit you with a ton of shit about Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. That childhood shit, dude.
We're gonna ruin your childhood right now, dude. We're gonna,
Yeah.
you think you're really like, oh, I remember that show, and you're like, man, I really wish I really didn't remember that episode now. No,
Yeah. Well, we're gonna hit you with some truth, and we're also gonna hit you with some conspiracies from each channel, right? So, before we start though, guys, I keep forgetting to mention this in every episode. If you listen to our episodes, we appreciate it. We love you guys. The support is awesome. If you could take it one step further and download the episodes if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to it, because it does help us out. And eventually, the more downloads we get, we can actually get paid for doing this. Not that we care that much, but it would be sick even if it was just 50 cents, dude. That means we made it big. So
the monthly paycheck is $1.
Yeah, monthly paycheck is $1. We split it and then pay taxes on it. But I mean, a penny is a penny. Yeah, a penny is a penny. You know, we'll feel accomplished if we ever get to put a small ad at the beginning. So, anyways, all right, Jesus, start us off with the freaking kicker, dude.
All right, dude. So right now, dude, I'm gonna hit you with some truth. You know, we can hit up the allegations later. We can start saying, you know, since all this drama about all these people getting exposed nowadays, you know, this Epstein Island list, this Cat Williams exposing these people.
Dude, I love
you know,
Cat Williams.
And Nick, you when you think of Nickelodeon, everyone always thinks, you know, maybe how do I say it? For me, I think of the Angry Beavers, the Rugrats.
I forgot about that show. I don't know how I forgot about Angry Beavers. I loved it.
Cat Dog and
Cat Dog
and Ren and Stimpy. Or is it Stumpy? I don't know.
No, it's Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy, yeah.
And then, dude, Rocket Power. Do we say Rocket Power?
Rocket Power. Damn, I forgot about Rocket Power.
You remember, Real Monsters.
Real Monsters? Oh no! Is that the one with where the monster
guy
has
holds
the
his
eyeballs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that one weirded me out, and I didn't see it.
I loved it. But
I loved Angry Beavers, bro. That was my shit.
Me too, dude. I want to watch an episode as we speak.
I identify with the dumb ones.
Cut the tapes. I'm just kidding.
Cut the tapes, right now.
But then we had like real life shit too, not just those cartoons. You know, we had iCarly, Drake and Josh.
Oh yeah,
Keenan and Kel.
Keenan and Kel, yeah. Ooh, that was one of my favorites.
All That?
All That, yeah.
Yeah.
The Amanda Show.
Yeah. Amanda Show. Dude, I loved that. That was like the time to be alive, huh? The kids these days, they'll never get that.
They'll never get to get slimed in real life, bro.
No, dude, like the Kids' Choice Awards, remember? And they would slime people.
Yeah.
But they'll never get to experience those shows, like Fairly Odd Parents and stuff. They get that new stuff, but it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same, you know, SpongeBob. Like, remember when SpongeBob first came out, how freaking sick it was? Dude, that was the coolest thing to ever exist.
Dude, when SpongeBob came out, I feel like my perception of what was funny was way off. Like, I thought SpongeBob was the most funniest thing in the world.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. A couple months ago, I move in, right? We're all chilling in here, and everyone's like, you know, what we should do is like eat some gummies, you know what I mean? Smoke some reefer, dude. And I was like, no, I'm too good for that. Okay. I'll do it. So we all did. We all like passed this little pen around, and then we watched SpongeBob. I've never laughed harder in all my fucking days, dude. It was, I don't know if it was just, maybe it was the gummies, I don't know, but it literally was so funny, and I'm like, what? Because I missed all the adult humor behind it when I was a kid, like I didn't see it, and so now that I watch it, I'm like, we watch this, like my mom let me watch this, and it is pretty gross in some scenes, like all Nickelodeon shows are. They have a lot of hidden, like, adult
There's that one where, was it the Pretty Patties, bro? And you know how at the end SpongeBob's like buried, and then you see his nose? And then Mr. Krabs literally says, he's like, SpongeBob, my boy, please tell me that's not your,
No, he's like, please tell me that's your nose or something, right?
Yeah, that's your nose, yeah, exactly.
And then when he stands up, his nose is in a different spot, like, or when they pull him out or whatever. Yeah,
his underwear's on his face.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it's like, that was the duh. That was the duh.
Yeah. And it looked the exact same as his nose, dude. There's a song called Squidward's Nose. I'm not recommending you guys listen to it because it's extremely inappropriate, but listen to it when you get a chance. Yeah, listen to it. But it's like really
dude.
stupid song, but go ahead.
Alright, dude. So we're gonna get to a particular person. We're gonna talk about Dan Schneider. And, you know, maybe when I say that, Dan Schneider, for a lot of people, it's like, who's that? But Dan Schneider is the guy that created the show All That, the Amanda Show.
Yeah, I think it might have did he do All That or just Kenan and Kel?
No, he did. Oh,
He did All
Kenan
That.
and Kel as well. Yeah.
Drake and Josh,
iCarly, Victorious, and even
Sam and Cat.
And Sam and Cat.
Sam and Cat. There was like 2 other ones that
he's
he
responsible
created
for your childhood, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he created 2 other shows too that I can't remember what they're called. They're like newer Nickelodeon shows, I think.
The newer, I don't know, dude. I only know.
It doesn't matter.
Up to
the new
there,
stuff don't matter.
Exactly. I only know up to Victorious, and I only watched it because I thought.
Zoe 101.
Oh,
he
and
did
Zoe 101.
Zoe 101 too, yeah. But
so this guy created a lot of shows that you probably would have seen or heard of, and you know, I'm just be straight up. This guy is a creep, right? Straight up creep. We talked about in one of my past episodes where I talked about Mr. Gigi and it's like weird things to get arrested for. And this should be one of the things you should get arrested for, dude. This guy, you know, I don't shame anyone. I'm not king shaming, you know. But this guy for sure has a foot fetish. If you think about, you know, Victorious, iCarly, even Drake and Josh, the Amanda Show. A lot of the scenes, these kids were not wearing shoes. A lot.
Or socks, dude.
Or socks. They were barefoot. And this guy was a producer / creator, so this guy was there, you know, in the heat of the moment while everything was getting filmed.
He wrote it, and those were his ideas, you know.
Yeah, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna start off with the first person that I think he personally messed up is the first case that I read that I was like, this is kind of weird, but it makes sense now, is Amanda Bynes.
Yeah, dude.
Amanda Bynes, you know, when she came out of Nickelodeon when she was a child, like kid. From the beginning, he fell in love with her, dude. As soon as he saw her, he picked her out. He cast her for Amanda. There's people that say that while they were recording shows and stuff, that he would be hanging up on her like if he was his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, her mom, would be right next to her.
Watching the whole thing.
Talking casually to Dan. And there's even pictures of him with Amanda Bynes, like, at the club while she's underage.
Dude, there was a video that I watched of Dan Schneider was being interviewed. It was for the Amanda Show. Remember, okay. She used to do interviews in that hot tub, which first off is creepy because she's like,
oh my god,
yeah, and you think like that's creepy. She was only like 11 or 12, 13ish, like in that range, and she's doing episodes in a hot tub in her swimsuit. And he got in there with her. He was like fully clothed and had his sunglasses, but it was just those two, and they're like filming them talking. And if you watch a lot of videos of them together, even offset, she is also like very touchy up on him, which is weird because she's a kid, she's a victim, but she would be like sitting on his lap and like holding hands, and he was always grabbing her and like had his hands on her side and like on her hips and waist. That is extremely inappropriate and disgusting.
And the thing is that you know that shit. She's a child, right? Amanda Bynes, she didn't know what was going on. You know,
yeah.
These people don't grow up normal. We'll say that they don't go to normal school. They don't associate with people as much as we do, so they don't know what's up.
Yeah.
But the mom was letting it happen. I'm like, damn, I blame the mom for fucking up one kid. And you know, Amanda was famous up until she was like 23, 24. And that's when she retired from acting.
Yeah.
She, after that, after that she went on a binger, right? She started doing drugs. She started going to jail. She started going to rehab. She went to rehab.
She pulled Britney Spears, dude.
Yeah, she pulled Britney Spears pretty hard. She dyed her hair all blonde. And then people would find her outside, walking outside naked. Just run, just normal, like casually, you know, like it was a normal thing.
And she just recently, even just this year, this is actually just within the last month or two, she got back on Instagram finally because she has like a conservatorship just like Britney Spears. So she doesn't have control, like, she may be, I don't know if Amanda Bynes got out of hers like Britney did, but she at least had one if she doesn't anymore. but she just recently got back on Instagram just this past month or two, and she started posting videos. She is unrecognizable, dude. It doesn't even look like the same person. The voice is the same, but she doesn't look the same. She comes on there to tell everyone that she's doing a podcast, and then they only did like 1, maybe 2 episodes or something, and then she was like, the podcast is canceled. It's just not like as good as I thought it was going to be. And people, she said they couldn't get enough guest stars and stuff, and it's like, bro, we just came to listen to you. I would have sat through every episode of that just to listen to Amanda Bynes, you know?
Yeah. Speak her whatever she went through or whatever, you know.
Yeah, her truth.
Whatever
where she's at now.
Whatever she could speak. Okay, bro. So here's where things get a little weird. Is that back in when Amanda Bynes was going through her like rehab phase, she would get on Twitter and she just go off on shit that used to happen to her. She went all the way back to, you know, the Amanda show, and she said that, you know, Dan Schneider and other executives that they would make her and what's his face, Josh Peck, or Drake? What's Drake?
No, Josh Bell. Josh Peck. Yeah, Drake Bell.
Drake Bell. Sorry, Drake Bell. They would make them have sex, basically.
What?
Yeah, you know, them being minors, 14, 15, or no, younger than that. They were like 10, 11, 12, 13, like those ages.
Dude.
And that, for me, I feel like that's what fucked her up initially, right? That's the root
100%.
of her cause, right? And, you know, just one simple thing, like, this guy started treating her nice and then started asking for more, and then made her a deal like, hey, if you do this with Drake, I'll get you your own show.
Dude, I never heard that. That's fucking crazy.
And that's you know, that's one of the monsters from Nickelodeon. And this guy, Dan Schneider, he's free. There's nothing against him. There's, like I was saying, there isn't anything against things, but I feel like when you're asking for pictures from a minor, is where I think there should be a law, you know, like, hey, if you're asking any kind of picture from a minor,
it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking on Dan Schneider, when we talked about the feet stuff a little bit, I never noticed it because I was young. Like, we're growing up, we don't realize that all the foot stuff is weird when we're like 10, 11, 12 watching these shows. We're just like, hee, like, whatever, so funny. But now, you look back on it, I was watching some YouTube videos. You can look up, like, Dan Schneider's creepiest moments on YouTube, and you'll see some weird shit, dude. Not only will you see, like, all the foot stuff, but you'll see, like, him interacting with the kids, with some of the girls. And especially, there's this one thing in particular that was really weird. He was standing with Miranda Cosgrove, Carly from iCarly.
Yeah.
And she was, like, being interviewed. Someone was videotaping her, and she was talking to them. And he had come up, and he was like, oh, did she say nice things about me? And he has, like, his arm around her, and, like, you can tell she's, like, uncomfortable. And the guy says, oh, yeah, good thing. Yeah. She said, yeah, I did. And he said, yeah, good stuff, whatever. And Dan Schneider goes, good, otherwise I would have to take out the taser. It's been a long time since I had to bring that out, huh? And he, like, laughs about it, but, like, that's not a funny joke. You know what I mean? To say to a kid. Yeah, he said he would have to bring out the taser. And then, not only that, but on iCarly, you'll see so much foot stuff. It's disgusting. And Sam and Cat and Victoria's. But in iCarly, if you remember, Sam used to, like, lay on the couch, and he would have people massage her feet, like Gibby. He also made Sam and Carly, like, draw pictures on their toes, like little smiley faces on all of their toes, and, like, wiggle them at the camera on the iCarly show and stuff.
Oh yeah, it was one of the things where they were in school, and they dressed up like a little monster or whatever.
Yeah, and then they showed their toes to the camera. And then, what else? I don't know, they did a lot of foot stuff, especially with Sam. They had her, like, go lay on her bed when she was sad in one episode, and she, like, face planted, and then it's, like, a shot of her feet with no socks and stuff on her bed, which was fucking weird. And then not only did it just go to iCarly, in Victorious you also see it too, where they end up going to the hospital, and they're like, oh, come feel this kid's feet, and then all the nurses come and they're feeling like
oh
feet,
yeah,
like,
the thing is they get like a fever or whatever, and it makes their feet super soft, and then the doctor comes and touches I think it's Riley's feet, and he's like, oh, come touch how soft his feet are, and then
everyone starts touching his feet.
And he even makes a comment on that. He's like, isn't that kind of weird? This is kind of weird. Like in that episode,
Yeah.
it says that.
Well, and then there's also another episode of Victorious, I think it was Victorious, where they have to put their feet in like a fish tank, and then the fish are like coming up to
Oh
their feet.
yeah, dude. No, I feel like in Victorious it was playing out more feet stuff.
Definitely, you're right. Now that I think about it, and it was much more adult jokes. Like both of them have a lot of adult jokes. In every episode, there is at least one adult joke. It doesn't matter what show you're watching by Dan Schneider, all of them. And even then, we move on to Sam and Cat because he already had an obsession with Jeanette McCurdy's feet, who plays Sam for some reason.
Hold on, Miranda. Before we hit Sam and Cat, let me hit you something else from iCarly.
Okay.
Remember Gibby?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not saying nothing against Gibby, right? Gibby was just doing his whatever he was told to do. But Dan Schneider literally wrote in this character that he would make this 10-year-old take off his shirt in front of everyone, and he was chubby, so they would make fun of him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of for me. That's kind of fucked up, right?
That
make the fat kid take off his shirt in every scene and make that his character.
Yeah, he did. He took off his shirt all the time, and he'd be like, "Gibby," like do stuff like that.
And then at the end of the series, he was all confident, so when he would take it off, he'd just be the man. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fucked up, right? Not just what he did, like the feet stuff. It was also like I like little boys.
Yeah, he did a lot of creepy stuff. Like that's super inappropriate. And then you have people's parents like Amanda Bynes and Jeanette McCurdy, who
mom.
Yeah, both of their moms just stood by and like let this stuff happen. And why? Like you might ask why, and then you think about it, like why would they do it? Maybe because their kids are making money or something, but that is like that's the only reason I can think that they would do such a fucked up thing, which I would never do. It just makes no sense. And that new book that Jeanette McCurdy wrote called I'm Glad My Mom Died, it has all kinds of stuff in it, so you gotta read it, but it has an allegation in there. She said, she didn't specifically say Dan Schneider's name, but that's just what people assume. She said that a Nickelodeon creator frequently supplied the children with alcohol and requested massages on set. And that he offered her $300,000 in hush money to not come forward about the abuse. And she, like, obviously didn't take it.
Wow.
Mhm.
So what were you gonna say about the Sam and Cat show, man?
Oh, Sam and Cat. With Ariana Grande, he did some creepy shit too, dude. And I don't know, the videos that you see of him, like, talking to her, there's a lot of them where he'll be like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, you're here, so there's always something, like, bad when you're here. Like, stuff like that.
Like that?
Like
straight
yeah,
up?
she said something like, that wasn't an exact quote, but she said, like, because you're here. Like, something always weird when you're here, like, something like that. And then he made her not only do weird things with her feet, he made her put her foot in her mouth on TV.
Oh, dude, I know what you're talking about. She used to, it's like a segment during the show where it's called The Slaps.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I was telling you earlier that how she's like, I'm gonna say three sentences that you've never heard of. And the first one was like, help, the hamster's either got stuck on my toe. And she literally said, she literally then after explains it, she's like, how would that happen if a hamster wouldn't be able to suck on your toe? But then I was just thinking, I was like, why would she say that?
Damn.
And then in another one is, I'm gonna try to drink water upside down. And
ooh, that one's the grossest one, dude.
And she like turns her whole body and then starts trying to chug water, but it looks like something else, right?
Yeah.
And the third one is something like I bet you can't talk with your thumb in your mouth, something like that, with your foot in your mouth. And she's like, and then boom, shows it in and then says something like, hurrah.
He also made her, I don't remember what happened in the episode to get to this point, but you can look at this on YouTube and it's like super cringy to watch and like I can't even finish the video. It makes me so uncomfortable. Like he makes her try to juice a potato with her hand, and so she like grips it with two hands and then she's like squeezing it and he's making her like make these noises basically and like try to squeeze juice out of the potato. And like, it's just super fucking weird, dude. And not only that, but a lot of people who have worked for him in the past or worked on set. So there's this lady, her name's Liz Feldman.
Yeah.
She worked as a writer on the All That show.
Yes.
She worked for Dan Schneider for 25 years ago, plus some. She said that she could confirm like inappropriate behavior was happening even way back then. And this was like when the Me Too movement was coming forward. She stepped out to say that. And this lady's like a professional. She works on Dead to Me, that show on Netflix. She writes for them and works for them.
Okay, so she's still in the business.
Still in the business. Yeah. But they said that he didn't like women, and he said another girl said that he had told them that like women can't be funny. So that also speaks to why is he hiring so many women if he thinks they can't be funny, and it just makes like I don't know.
God. All right, dude. I'm gonna talk. Let me talk to you since we're talking about Nick, right? Let me talk to you about one of the founders of Nick. Her name is Geraldine. Geraldine. I can't say her last name. It's LeBron or something like that. LeBron's. She was one of the co-founders of Nickelodeon. She's a super old lady, right? This lady is the is the main person that hired Dan Schneider.
Yeah. Back
in like the 1980s. Okay, so there's accusations of this lady basically molesting what's his face, Drake Bell.
Oh my god. The lady did or her husband?
Yeah, no, the lady did.
Okay.
And well, I started looking up into this lady, right? Like, what's the deal on her? Who is she, right? Well, she's like the co-founder of basically the oxygen tanks. Like her family is of like actual oxygen tanks, like in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
So her family's like one of the co-founders of that. So she's rich as fuck from that. And then from that, she made Nickelodeon, like a kids show. Well, I'm just gonna be straight. This lady was a frequent flyer to Kitty Express, Epstein Island.
Epstein Island, dude.
Her and her husband were executive board members. So from all the way from from the 1980s all the way up to the early 2000s, they were frequent flyers. She's just a bad lady, man. She's a super bad lady.
She sounds like a horrible person.
And the thing is, they say that this lady still has influence over who gets hired and fired at Nickelodeon.
Really?
Oh, since I am telling you this, right? There was a bunch of people that got arrested and released from Nickelodeon that worked on or either All That, iCarly, Victorious, Drake and Josh, and The Amanda Show. There was like 6 or 7 people, but they're not that important because a lot of them just got basically catched and released. It didn't stick with them. But the people that did get kind of fucked over, there's these 2 people that I have. One is Brian Peck, which sounds like Josh Peck's dad, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it would be, but it's not.
But it's not. No. This guy worked with kids. He was a Hollywood acting and method acting coach. Okay. Basically, this guy trained everyone. Josh, Drake, Amanda, all these, Keenan and Kyle, all these kids when they were younger, right?
Yeah.
He's been teaching for over 20 years, or over 30, over 20 years before anything happened. Back in 2003, this guy ends up getting arrested for lewd acts with a minor. So this guy would, since he was an acting coach, he would, find kids near parks, just look for kids, look for talent, you could say. Yeah. And there's this kid that would come around a park where he would live frequently, and he just took him in. He was like, I'll show you shit, like I'll make you get famous is probably what he probably used to tell people. Yeah. Like Kanye West, I made that bitch famous. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Lauren. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god. That Lauren? Like again?
What's it called? So this guy, over a 6-month period of teaching this kid how to act, he was basically, sexually abusing him. Yeah. And it took 2 years after all this happened to get this guy arrested because they basically got all this evidence from the past, present, and then they arrested him in 2003. They only gave him a 20-year sentence. I'll tell you this. It's 2024, dude. It's been 20 years. This guy was released last year.
Jesus Christ.
So this guy is free. So that means
that means he's just out there and he can do whatever he wants again.
Exactly, and he can be and there's no restrictions on him being if you look him up, he's not a child registered sex offender. So he can teach again. There's this other guy basically that happened to same thing as this guy, as Brian Peck. His name is Justin Smith. He worked as a post-production editor for Nick. So he looked over almost all the shows right before he did all the pre-editing right before the show gets released. So he saw everything. He was friends with this guy, Brian Peck, and also Dan Schneider.
Jesus, so it's all connected, dude.
It's all connected. This guy's a little funny because he came out on a really popular show. It's called To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen. You remember that show, Miranda, when we were younger?
Yeah. Yep, dude. They don't make it anymore, do they?
No, because it's controversial.
Yeah, because they're like, you're setting these people up. Well, the problem with that show is that they like set them up, right? But they can't actually commit the crime of like doing something with a minor because that would be like really fucked up to set that up. So they get caught for wanting to, you know.
So in every state except for Texas and I think it's Florida, you can get arrested for entrapment, right? Like that's what they're doing, entrapment. In Texas, you have to have a solid reason. In Florida, same thing. Like they have to be caught in the act to be arrested. Yeah. But everywhere else, they can be arrested. Damn. So this guy, Justin Smith, he came out on one of the episodes. He went online, you know, looking for a girl, a little underage girl. This is what these people fucking love, little kids.
Fucked up.
He started talking to some girl, but little did he know it was one of the TCAP decoys, you know, to catch predator decoys. And, you know, right away he started sending her pictures of his dick. He had a webcam. He started showing her videos of him like jerking off and shit. And during, I think it was only like 2 weeks span of just them talking, he sent her over 50 plus like pornographic links.
Jeez.
This is to a decoy, right? This is a grown person. Even to a grown person, this is fucked up to send. And imagine like a little kid getting all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy shows up to the house. He gets, you know, meets Chris Hansen, immediately panics and leaves, and then gets arrested. Right when he's getting arrested, he's trying to sympathize with the cops. He's like, please. He's like, I have a career. Like, started begging for his life.
They always do that, dude.
This guy got out basically the following week. No problem. Just all he had to do was register as a sex offender. This was back in 2006. Okay, Miranda? Right? Back in 2006, he's been a registered sex offender. He waited all this time back, and then he got fired from Nick, obviously, right?
Yeah.
You get fired from everything. He reapplied to Nick in 2019, and they rehired him, knowing he was a sex offender.
Dang.
So
they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care at all.
Nickelodeon don't care who they hire.
Well, I wanted to touch a little bit on the Geraldine lady because I did find something about her earlier, and it's crazy, right? So this is where we're talking about fact, and then it turns into conspiracy. That's what this episode is about, right? There is fact at the beginning, but then people run with it. So Geraldine has a husband named Kit. They both flew on Epstein's plane together, or his jet, you know, like you were saying.
Yeah.
They also worked their way up through the system because they were working on like the children's television network. They also worked alongside this guy named Kevin Clash, who was like the pedophile Elmo puppeteer dude. So they worked with him. And then
Of course. No, just kidding.
Yeah. So then Geraldine created Nickelodeon, right?
Yes.
But she also became the CEO at Disney at one point.
What?
I was just reading this. I don't know if that's accurate information, so I'll have to Google it, but it literally says that. And then she also runs a brand of childcare services with her husband. And they also have like a lot of business ventures going on with Oprah, right? Oprah is another sketchy one who we'll have to cover in another episode, but she was responsible for creating schools in Africa where some girls were like abducted and abused and all this stuff. So you think of it like that.
Like the guy from, Raw Rolling Papers?
Yeah.
Josh, that's his name. He does all that too. He opens up, orphanages and houses and schools to all the places in Africa where, all these women get abducted and shit. And they even help. What's crazy, he helps more than anyone else.
Really?
Yeah. He even got wells, like water wells, and even taught the people like how to fix everything. It's crazy. This guy,
is he a good guy or a bad guy?
He's a super good guy. We should talk about him on one of our episodes.
Helping. Okay.
Yeah.
At first I thought you were saying that he was doing what Oprah did. Okay.
Oh, no. It's like the opposite. He's like the opposite of Oprah, basically.
Okay. So it all ties into like a ton of people who are connected with some of the episodes. Like, it seems like every time we have an episode and we talk about one person who's doing human trafficking or something like that, it all goes together, right? So keep in mind, this is all conspiracy. It's just like things that happen to go together if you link all these people together. So the Geraldine, she created Nickelodeon. She worked alongside Oprah Winfrey and like some other business ventures. Then Oprah was responsible for like opening those schools where girls were being abducted and abused. At one point, Oprah had posted some photo with Tom Hanks in it where he was all bruised up and he was holding a sign that said like, "I'm not allowed to talk." Right? Weird. Then
was his face bruised up, or was his face like blue, Miranda?
I don't know. It didn't say. It just said bruised up. So I would have to look it up.
Panda ritual.
Right. Well, then Tom Hanks eventually was like exposed as a pedophile along with Seth Green by this guy named Isaac. Right.
Really?
We don't know. I
didn't know this.
He's never been like convicted of it or anything. But he posted a video of his daughter this one time in like, was it ballet or some kind of recital? I can't remember. And he was calling her a sexy baby. Dude, it was a beauty pageant, something like that.
I can't even appreciate Tom Hanks anymore, dude. Look, I'm over here thinking like, Wilson!
So look that up because that's creepy, right?
Yeah.
So then Tom Hanks, he ended up tweeting he like put out this tweet about Route 66 this one time, which shortly after that, the Isaac guy who exposed him and Seth Green was murdered there, but it said it was ruled a suicide.
Oh.
Right? So then, if you Google like Geraldine Laybourne is the last name, if you look at some of the columns in her like Nickelodeon magazine, they had like a lot of like weird symbolism, like triangles with blue swirls and Masonic symbols and stuff, like crowns,
like
pyramids, like pedophile symbols and Illuminati shit and weird shit.
The ones that say like I like kids and I like boys. Those ones.
Yes. So there was stuff like that in her Nickelodeon
like how all our Dorito chips used to be shaped.
Yeah.
Remember the bags? There used to be a lot of triangles on them. Yeah. No.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
then Hey Arnold. Remember that show?
Yeah, dude, I love Hey Arnold.
So the creator of it, his name's Craig Bartlett. He originally wanted...
You're about to tell me I can't like this show anymore.
No, you can't like anything. Honestly, just don't like anything. We gotta like stay off the internet. We can't do anything. So Craig Bartlett originally wanted like an older woman character in that show to keep finding ways to like be alone with Arnold because she was in love with him. And he's like, he plays an 8-year-old boy in that fucking cartoon.
Isn't there an episode where that happens?
Yes, there is an episode where something creepy like that happens, but he wanted the whole show that way. But they rejected this. They were like, we can't put this in like the entire show. So instead they made Helga.
Is that why, sorry dude, like psychologically a lot of like guys my age, they have like a weird
fantasy. They like older women?
When they were younger, like for sure, they always wanted to be like,
like a mom?
Get abducted by someone and like, something like that happened to them.
Maybe.
Like where they got alone. And I'm like, damn bro, they've been implementing this into our heads since we're younger.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So because they like nixed that idea, they went ahead and put all the creepy qualities of what the older woman was supposed to be, and they put it into Helga Pataki, remember? The girl who's like, "Hey Arnold," like outside all the time.
Beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, so it's Helga G. Pataki is her name in the show. The G is the initial for Geraldine, so they put that in there since she was the creator of the show, right? Then Craig Bartlett, that's the guy that created Hey Arnold and was creepy. He married this lady named Lisa Groening.
Yes.
The sister of this guy. She's a sister of this guy named Matt Groening, right? Matt Groening I don't know if I'm saying the last name right, Groening, I don't know, was a frequent flyer on Epstein's plane, and he received massages from underage girls, and these underage girls actually testified against him for it. So there's actually like proof in court that they testified against this guy, and so it's literally all connected in some weird fucking way. Isn't that crazy?
It always is, dude. It's like we try to avoid. I feel like we've been trying to avoid shit that's linking like this. I'm over here thinking we're gonna talk about a new topic, and then all of a sudden everything connected.
Yeah, then everything's all connects in some weird way again. And then there's always like I get bothered because there's people like, oh my god, this is the conspiracy podcast, but like, is it though? Because if it's all connected and there's literally proof on paper, like how is it a conspiracy anymore? You know?
It's like when we were talking about Disney World, bro, and Disneyland. How this guy, how Walt Disney was racist, and like how I think, like, I say that, you know, he froze his body, but then there's people that say he just froze his head, and then there's people that are saying that it's a myth. So I don't know.
There's
you know
too
what I mean?
much. Yes,
there's too much.
There's so much stuff like that you could talk about with if we move on to Disney, right? It's a shit show, to be honest. There's so many theories about Walt Disney. So like you said, with the frozen head, this myth got started forever ago because this dude had actually written a book. I can't remember what his freaking name was. Robert Edinger published a book. That's his name. In 1964. He published a book called The Prospect of Immortality. And it created, like, you know, this huge obsession, this big buzz about, like, preservation, like freezing people. Then Walt Disney passed away, like, shortly after that. So then people started to think, like, okay, Walt Disney creates all this other stuff, like, what would stop him from freezing his body? Like, what would stop him from freezing his head? But then his family comes out and says, like, his dying wish was, you know, to be cremated. Those were his end of life wishes. If you look at his death certificate, it says he was cremated 2 days after he died. So, and this, hear me out.
Okay.
He died only 34 days after his cancer diagnosis.
What?
Fucking weird, right? Fucking weird, dude. So you don't know this stuff, but like it all comes together and it's super creepy. So the reason Walt Disney died, if nobody knows, is, well, because he had cancer. So I think it was lung cancer. And then
he was a frequent smoker for sure. Like I don't know. I remember I was telling you that a lot of his pictures, he has 2 fingers extended out, but they photoshopped the cigarette out, so they would preserve his image.
But all he wanted to do was smoke and smoke.
Yeah, all he did was smoke every day, all day.
Dude, yeah. Well, he died from it, and like, oof. Anyways, so they said his body was frozen. It's just a rumor. It's never been proven, but I don't know, dude. I could see it.
What if you know? Like, let me throw this in your head real quick, just since we're talking about all of this stuff. So what if, you know, he's like, oh, I got cancer, like, you know, I'm dying, like, like his voice probably sounds like that too, right? What if he's like, what if I freeze myself, and in the future they cure the cancer?
Save me.
And you guys gotta save me. It's like, why? He's like, I know stuff. He's like, I was a hit. I like Hitler, and they were like, this guy's onto something.
Oh yeah, because they said that too, didn't they?
Yeah, he was a Nazi,
he was like a Nazi sympathizer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No,
and then you start looking at all the old school cartoons, and you're like,
You're like, wait a second, they're not wrong.
Not wrong.
Well,
yeah.
They also said that, I think we talked about this in one of the other episodes, but that, like, people can't die at Disneyland. Like, you can't, I mean, it's possible to die if you had a heart attack and drop dead, but people say that it's been, like, it's like their life's work, that if someone starts getting sick, they literally, like, don't want them pronounced dead inside of the park.
So what do, bro? They just toss them out to the streets in the park, in the parking lot?
Like, I don't know. Or they wait until they get in the ambulance and drive away to pronounce them dead. There's only been, at least, if you look it up, there's only been, like, 3 documented cases of deaths on actual Disney property. which you know how many people go there yearly with their grandparents and shit? You know damn well that more people have heart attacks there on the rides, and shit.
Just how do I say, raw emotion, bro. I feel like some people get too excited at Disneyland. And have you ever been to Disneyland, Brad?
I have been to Disneyland, yeah.
Dude, I've been to Disneyland and Disney World, and there's always this crazy ass vibe.
I don't like it, to be honest.
There's this crazy ass vibe of like people like going there for the first time, and I feel like for someone that's been there multiple times, and you just go there like, oh, I'm going there because I like the shows now, and I like all the rides, right? And then you see that shit, and you're like, I don't want to be in the line with them. No,
no, it's I've only been, so I went when I was young. I went to Disney World when I was 2 or 3, so I don't remember it. And back then, you know, this was like 1997-ish. The rules weren't as strict as far as like what you can touch and not touch. And I touched one of the horses that were in the parade, and I got a really bad allergic reaction because I was allergic to horses, and this is how my parents found out. And so like we had to rush to the emergency room because I got full blown hives all over, and so I ruined Disney World for my whole family.
Damn.
And then I went twice to Disneyland. Once with my cousin, my grandma, and my uncle, and another time with my dad and my stepmom. But when we're talking, like you mentioned with Walt Disney and his cigarette, like they had to edit it out all the time because they wanted to protect his image.
Yeah.
That's the same reason that they try not to like let people die in the park, because it's all about Disneyland's image, dude. It has to be clear. Like one of the people who died there was actually like a utility worker, and they died like on the beach resort after the cart he was working on flipped and pinned him to the floor, and he died that way.
Damn. They dragged his rigor mortis body to the parking lot, and they're like, he died in the parking lot.
He died out here, dude. There's another one that said that, I don't know if this one's true, I'll have to read a little bit more about it, but it said that after he died, he left like 5 years worth of like micromanagement videos for all his executives so he could still like tell them what to do, basically.
I believe it, bro. You know, if I were to die, like, if I were to have, like, cause, you know, that seems like the preservation thing, the micromanagement thing, it seemed like he was getting ready to be preserved.
Yeah, that would make sense, right?
You know, the way you said that, it like lined it up for that. And you know, Miranda, I would do the exact same thing if I knew I was gonna die. I would leave key instructions for each and one of you, what I want for you, and then I'd be like, if you watch this video and you're 30 and you're not doing this, I'm coming for you. No, I just kidding. All of a sudden, if you hear a knock in the middle of the night, just know it's Jesus. No, I just
You just know it's Jesus, dude. It's your freaking ghost.
My ghost, yeah. You're so used to it at this point. I'm like, I don't see you moving, man. No, I'm just kidding.
So there was also like a big rumor about him that said he left his money in his will to the first ever man who can get pregnant. Obviously, they said that like, oh, it's just a myth, like it's just a myth. But his will, let's see, I think his will is like a matter of public record now because it's been so long, right? Yeah. But it says that he left 45% of his estate to his wife and kids, 45% of it to the Disney Foundation, and then the remainder was just divided up among other relatives.
And but there was 1% to that.
Yeah, but it said there was nothing left specifically to the first guy who got pregnant.
Damn, so, they took it all before he got pregnant, dude.
Probably.
See, dude, what was see from there, dude? What was Walt Disney insinuating, bro? From that statement, he's like the first man to get pregnant. Was he insinuating that we were gonna get to this point
where we're at now?
Where we're at now?
What was he insinuating by it?
Yeah.
And there was also a lot of conspiracies, not just about like Walt Disney himself, but about the shows and movies that he produced. So, like now Walt Disney's been dead for a long time, right? But there's like all kinds of stuff about the shows he created or just the Disney Channel shows. Cause we can't blame Walt Disney for the stuff that's happening now because he's obviously been dead a very long time. Or maybe, or is he frozen? We'll never know.
Right.
But,
we're talking about you, all the shows on Disney, was it the Disney Channel that only get one season?
Right? Well, so we had like That's So Raven, we had Lizzie McGuire, we had, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Wizards of Waverly Place, dude. Those are all like the the OG good shit that we used to get to see.
I only remember, I never saw Lizzie McGuire. I saw the Lizzie McGuire movie, right?
Oh, okay, but you never watched the show.
I never watched the show. And then I saw, what was that other one you said?
I don't know, I said a lot. Oh, Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh, Wizards of Waverly Place and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I saw those two.
Oh, yeah, those ones were good. That's Selena Gomez, dude. That's where she got famous.
Oh, dude, honestly, I didn't like Selena Gomez in that show. How do I say it? The little brother and the dad were the funniest, for sure.
Yeah. The little brother, dude. He played in another show, The Fosters, that I watched, and I loved that show. But anyways, so back to Disneyland for a second before I hit the shows. There's still a ton of, like, mystery and conspiracy about Disneyland itself. So we already talked, like, about human trafficking, about, you know, Nickelodeon and other stuff. Same thing goes for Disneyland. They say it's like a hot spot, dude, because they said at first they were like, oh, there's tunnels underneath where they like transport people. That is true. There are tunnels underneath, and they're pretending that it's just for like maintenance stuff and crew. But I don't know. What do you think? You know, there was recently, I don't know if it was, what year was this in? I think it was just this year. Yeah, it was just this year. There was like a big human trafficking bust in Florida. 3 of the people were Disney employees who got busted in the sting, dude.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Of course. And they say that line, the happiest place on earth, bro. But you can literally get human trafficked from Disneyland if you're not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
I don't know if I bring this up. Did I tell you the time I got lost at Disneyland?
No, you didn't.
Oh God, I think maybe I just told Miranda this story, or I might have said it on a past episode. So we went to Disneyland, right? And we just you need to talk about this next. It's a Small World.
Oh yeah.
We had just gotten off that ride, and I think I was like 11 or 12. And Jesus has always liked Power Rangers, bro. That's like my thing. And I remember at the time it was like they had just brought back the dinosaurs, so I was like hella hyped. I was like, let's go. And my family, we went through the gift shop of It's a Small World or whatever. There's like a little shop or whatever, and I stayed there looking at the toys. And my family just dipped. They didn't even like realize, right? And I didn't even realize they were gone. I think 10 minutes had passed by, and I was like, okay, because I would like sit back, read the back of the manual, read all that shit, and then put the toy back, and then I'll be like, like maybe when I get home I'll ask.
Yeah.
And when I look back, everyone was gone, and then I was freaking out, right? A little kid, I was like, I think I was younger. I was like maybe 8 or 9. And I started to freak out, and the lady like saw I was freaking out. She's
like, "Where's your mom?"
Yeah, where's my mom? And I was like, I don't know, this and that. They just left me. And,
they left me here.
And there was I remember the Disney security came to where I was at and just asked me like, "What's your name?" This and that. And from there, bro, I remember from there he just like had a microphone, and then he just started saying, and it sounded like on the intercom in the whole park. So they have a thing for lost children, like, right away, right?
Yeah.
But look how easy I could have gotten kidnapped.
You could have gotten kidnapped that easy, dude.
They literally, they helped me instead of not helping me, because they're like, he's a brown kid, we don't get paid much for those.
We don't get paid much for him, dude, give him back. So, when you said It's a Small World, that also brings up, there's like some theories about that ride, too. Like, a lot of people say that it's like super haunted, and that like the dolls are basically like alive, and some Disney workers have said that they've actually like seen like little ghost kids in there and stuff at night. But the weirdest part about the whole ride is that the dolls are constantly on 24/7. The music turns off, but the dolls stay moving nonstop all the time. Yeah, that's weird, right?
And they're all, how do I say?
That's not conspiracy, that's a fact, dude.
It's a fact, yeah, because a lot of people say that shit. But you know what that reminds me of? I don't know if you've heard of like Five Nights at Freddy's, right?
Yes.
So it's like the animatronics like stay on, like beside when having no power, like that's basically saying that shit's real, right?
Yeah. Well, and then so like back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, like little kids like dolls. Not so much anymore. I feel like kids don't really like dolls anymore because we've been like so conditioned to like be afraid of them. But back then, little kids loved dolls, especially animated, like animatronics type of shit, like dolls that move and can sing and dance. Like, that's cool. And it's been said that, like, the dolls, like I said, are possessed or haunted, and that they're not evil. There's never been like a case of someone being like, the doll tried to hurt me or something, but that they are like possessed, right? And it's been said that they like will mess with like kids and like tap their shoulder and stuff like that, or like not necessarily the dolls, but like a ghost. Like kids have been like, someone touched me, someone grabbed me. Like, do you see that kid over there? And nothing's there.
You guys can look up this video. It's on YouTube, but it's on that ride, and it's a dad and a kid, right? And you see the kid like stand up and like fall into the water. And when they pick him up, right, the dad like is freaking out. He's like, I saw something pull my kid in. And it was when they asked the kid what it was. He's like, it was just another kid from the ride.
What?
So when you say like there's shit possessing like the animatronics, I'm like, is it just other dead kids?
That's what literally they said, is that it's just like other dead kids. That's what the theory is that like other dead kids are like ghosts in there, and they like control the dolls, and they like mess with people, and it's been like said that people have died in there, and like kids have gone missing in there. Like there's been all kinds of crazy stuff.
Every time I've gone on that ride, dude, I've always gotten that weird ass chill when you're leaving.
Ooh, yeah. I was afraid of that ride when I was little. I didn't want to go in.
Yeah, dude, same. I was terrified of it because it starts off all nice, right? And then it just like, it gets a little darker when you get to the end.
Yeah.
And then when you're leaving it feels like you can never leave this place. Like that.
Yeah.
you know which one had a fucked up history too? Was the old school Haunted Mansion ride from the movie The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
So they were saying for the longest time that the skeletons in there, they were real.
I could see it, dude.
They were genuine cadavers, right? Instead of being plastic or clay or whatever.
Yeah.
They make them out of, or porcelain. Up until I think it was recently. It was shown that a couple cadavers were actually bones, like for real, and then some were fake, and they shut down it was when I went back in like 2009-10. They shut down the ride, the Haunted Mansion ride, for that same reason, because someone, I guess they were like, oh, those are real bones. Those are real bones.
Well,
and
you know what else they said about that ride is that like the scary haunted faces are like based on Walt Disney's face. Is another thing that I saw about them.
Oh, you mean the busts, right?
Yeah, like the scary like things that you see in there are like formed off of him, if that makes sense. I don't know how to like say it properly.
Like based off of him, modeled after him.
Modeled after him, that's the word I was looking for. Another crazy theory that someone had, it's just like a story that goes with It's a Small World ride. So the other story about the It's a Small World ride, that's a creepy story, and it's obviously just a story that like people put together, is that it was based off of like a Pinocchio type of thing. So the theory is that after Pinocchio actually like became a real boy, he grew up, he eventually like became an adult, right? He left Geppetto, which made him like super lonely and depressed, because that's why he created Pinocchio in the first place, right? Because he was all alone and he wanted company. He kept like trying to find a way to like not be alone and depressed. So then he was like, I'll just make another doll. So I guess Geppetto had a dream, right, where he was like, I'll make another wood companion. He woke up, just something took hold of him, dude. So he just started making dolls, and he just couldn't stop. And he became like crazy and obsessed with the idea of just like making millions of dolls. So every doll that he made just became like more and more creepy and weird, right? And so at this point, he like didn't even have any more space to make dolls, and he was like done with it. So he had like taken these dolls and like locked them away forever in a far, far away kingdom type of shit, like Disney Channel type of stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually someone found this storage place for the dolls, and it just happened to be Walt Disney. And he found all these dolls, and he was like captivated, just like mesmerized. He's like, this is so cool. But the thing is, when he opened the door and like let the light in, that just like Pinocchio, like they weren't alive, but they weren't dead either. Like they were like moving and dancing and doing all that. And so he became like captivated with them, and then he took them and he put them all into this ride, and then that's how they became what they are. And they just never maybe sometimes they do turn into a real boy type of thing. I don't know, but that was one other
all I'm
story.
thinking is, imagine you're like an engineer and you're working on those shits, right? And let's say you like Five Nights at Freddy's stuff when you have to inspect them. Like you're fixing the shoulder and then all of a sudden like turns back and looks at you.
And it's like, ow.
Ow, or doesn't it just like looks at it, or the eyes look at you like
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't know, I would punt it, bro. I would punt it. I couldn't. I'd be
Yeah. I mean, I would literally not even work on it.
I'd be like, I gotta go home. I want to do this anymore.
There's all kinds of theories about like all their movies and stuff too. Disney has a lot more theories than like Nickelodeon does. Well, actually Nickelodeon has it. We didn't even talk about the Rugrats theory. Which if we bounce back for a second, there was a theory that Angelica was literally like just schizophrenic and she made up like most of the babies. Like they were real at a certain point. Like Chucky died with his mom in the accident. Tommy was a stillborn. That's why Stu was constantly building stuff just to like try and build the toys for his son who he never had. The DeVilles, Phil and Lil, their mom got an abortion and never had them, and so she couldn't figure out if it was a girl or a boy, so she just named them Phil and Lil and made up the twins in her head, and like there was creepy things like that. And then Dill was actually the only one who was real, right?
Yeah.
Is what the theory says. And
but
that
she would abuse him.
Yeah, she would abuse him. So I don't know. But there's like all kinds of theories about that too, but I mean those are obviously just theories about how the stories came to life. But back to Disney for a second. Do you remember That's So Raven?
Yeah.
Okay. So the guy who plays her little brother, I think his name was Corey, right? Corey Baxter.
Yeah. Corey.
His name is Kyle Massey. That's his real name. He was actually has been in big trouble because he got accused of like sending nudes basically to a 13-year-old girl.
Oh my god.
They said it happened between like December 2018 and January 2019. It's like over a month span. Happened over Snapchat. Kyle Massey at the time was 29. Yeah, he was charged with 1 count of communication with a minor for immoral purposes. I feel like there should be more, but whatever. The mom of this girl actually had a flash drive containing all the material, and she like was able to give it in court. Some of the videos, there is a dude in there who you assume would be Kyle Massey. It didn't have his face, but like whipping out his weenie, dude. Did that. And so he was in big trouble for that too.
So basically, what we're saying from this episode is that if you work at Disney or work for Disney,
you ain't good.
You ain't a good person, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think all the child stars and stuff have had it really rough, but like, you can't say that about everyone. Like Dylan and Cole Sprouse, they ended up good. Hilary Duff from Lizzie McGuire, she's just fine. Yeah. Selena Gomez, she's just fine.
Rhonda Condro.
Like, no, she's from Disney. I mean, from Nick.
From Nick, but yeah, but that's another person that got fucked up like that, like them, and then go crazy.
She's fine. The guy who plays, what was the other guy that played with Sam and Carly, their best friend? Why can't I remember his name?
Ted?
Freddie.
No,
Freddie, yeah. He's fine. Like, there's all that kind of stuff. But, I don't know, dude. Then Disney CEO, this was like back a couple years ago. His name was Bob Chapek, I don't know how to say his last name. He got fired, and that was like a couple years ago, maybe in 2022, maybe before that, I don't know. But he got fired, and they just said that basically he was like cooking the books, right? And they said that the stocks were way down, that he was upping the price of tickets, but that even though the ticket price was up, the value of the tickets was down, so you couldn't even do as much stuff with them, even though they were priced at like a higher price point. There was just all kinds of stuff. So that's apparently why he got fired, right? There was all kinds of allegations about, human trafficking stuff, of course, because that's what it's always going to be. But that was like the main reason he got fired, and that's what the internet will say. So then, this other guy who had already like formerly retired, his name was also Bob Iger or Eager, I'm not sure how to say his last name. He came back after that guy got fired and like took his spot, and he signed a contract saying that he would like take his place till 2026 or something like that. Well, he's done too, because he did all kinds of sketchy shit as well. And Elon Musk had actually like gone on air and was talking about it. And he said that, like, there was this lawsuit going against Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, saying that they, like, promoted underage accounts and that, not promoted, but it basically saying that, like, they showed explicit content to, like, people who were underage. And there was all these ads being posted. So, Bob, this dude who worked for Disney, didn't take his ads down. And so he was basically, Elon was saying that he's like endorsing this material and that he's like a sick piece of shit and that he needs to step down and all this stuff. They said they didn't say he needs to step down, he said he needed to be fucking fired is what he said.
Well, yeah, dude, it's like they're publicly saying like, yeah, this is what it is, accept it.
Yeah. So there's been all kinds of accusations and it's just like, it's so crazy to me that just like Nickelodeon, these people will get all these allegations and charges and then they just bring them back. So, I'm going to read this directly from the internet. Ousted Disney CEO Bob Chapek, whatever, is getting a $20 million severance pay on top of the $24 million that he already earned in just 2022 alone, dude.
They're not laundering money or anything, right?
Right, exactly. Disney said the CEO is set to get a severance package worth more than $20 million.
Is that why literally Disney is going bankrupt? Because they're giving away all their money to random ass people instead of putting it into their fucking movies and shows?
Yeah, exactly. And then they said that this guy got fired because he also was like not making correct decisions for Disney Plus and he was putting like this show on instead of this one and like just doing stuff like that. But just in 2022 alone, this guy spent $280,000 on just air travel. So just flying around. Can you imagine, dude? I don't even make that in 5 years, like, and he just spent it traveling. And here I am barely able to make it to my friend's wedding because it's in London. Like, having to work and groom 1 billion dogs a day, not come home. Like, literally I work at the salon, I come home, work on the podcast, edit it, go to sleep, do the same thing every single day just to still not have money. Like, dude, for us to be sitting on these $2 freaking headsets that barely work, and making payments on a PC that we can't afford, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense how someone who does horrible things just gets a $20 million payout just because they got fired. They got fired and they still got $20 million.
Damn, bro.
And we can't even afford health insurance. Like, are you kidding me? I can't even afford my Disney Plus subscription. For real.
Yeehaw, brother.